Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka geekxxchic, and I'm back with another review to The Walking Dead. This is for the latest episode, which was entitled Chokepoint, and it was interesting. I think it was kind of fun to see a different group kind of form in the dynamic, particularly between Daryl and Connie. The team up was pretty cool. And of course, we got introduced to another group, potentially. I'm assuming this was a comic book group because I don't recognize the name. But overall, I'd say it was actually pretty outside of the stuff that went down with Daryl and Connie and the rescue team. There really wasn't a whole heck of a lot outside of that went down. So there's probably not gonna be much in this review because I don't feel like there's a whole lot to talk about. We'll get right into it with the whole Chokepoint namesake, which was the plan that Connie, look at my girl Connie showing up and showing out as a little gangsta of the apocalypse. She tells Daryl and the group that they need to go someplace because obviously running from the camp, they know they can't stick around anywhere near, and if they go back to Hilltop, obviously not smart. So she brings them to an apartment building that her and her group have been to before. They have stashes there and they already set it up to be a place that was not walker accessible. So that was really cool. It shows a lot of smarts, obviously, on not just her part, but I guess the group she was with as well. And it was kind of cute to see Daryl kind of slowly coming to the conclusion that Connie is quite smart and that he can trust her and trust the calls that she makes. I understand why he is resistant in the beginning, but as Carol kind of brought out at the beginning of this season, Daryl needs to, you know, he needs to start working with people again. He needs to remember that there are other folks out there that are helpful and useful and looking out for each other, and he hasn't really had that since Rick died, it sounds like. So I kind of like that this, even though this mission is stupid because of Henry, it is kind of forcing Daryl to get back into the swing of things as far as people and interactions again, and that's good to see. And the chemistry with him and Connie is great. I really, really like it. It's fun. They're both kind of weirdly similar considering that they seem very different, but I think that they're both very independent and tough people in their own ways and both equally stubborn. And yeah, you know, we definitely see that Daryl was coming around to respecting her and liking her, and I think it's vice versa. That I think she respects Daryl quite a bit and she knows how to handle him. You know, she's not scared off by his gruff, unwashed demeanor the way that other people might be. So that was really cool to see them working together and kind of forming this bond. As I said, I'm not against it. I don't know if it'll ever go there because, you know, Daryl on this show and romance has never been a thing, but I wouldn't be opposed to it because Carol is not on the table. I know there's a lot of Carol shippers out there, and sorry for y'all, but Carol is fully invested in the Ezekiel relationship. It's been 6 years, they married, you know, like it's time to move on, and Daryl doesn't have to be sitting out here by himself if somebody's willing to put up with the unwashedness. You feel me? Who knows? Maybe Connie could be the one to finally convince him to bathe regularly. It could happen. It could happen is all I'm saying. That was cool to see how the plan came together, how Connie was like, hey, you know, if these guys are coming, they're not going to be able to bring their minions with them in this building, so that's going to help us because that's going to reduce their numbers. And thankfully, Lydia is fully cooperating at this point. She's telling them exactly, like, yes, there's only about 5 or 6 of them in a group. Beta's our strongest guy. Like, look out for him. Like, that was all very helpful. And I respected the fact that she was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to kill my people because these are people these are my people. These are people who, not all of them were abusive jerks like my mom. Some of them actually were good to me and have taken care of me, so I'm not going to feel comfortable raising a stick against them. Not to mention, I mean, I think she knew there's no way she was going to win a fight against Beta. So I respect that she was honest and was just like, I don't think I can do this, and that Daryl smartly was like, well, if you can't fight, then let us put you someplace where you'll be safe and not some, you know, not an obvious target to be grabbed. And then he sent Dog with her. Like, that was really nice of him because, you know, he loves Dog more than anything at this point. So that was nice, very honest of Lydia, and, you know, gives me hope that there is potentially you know, an arc for her to go the right direction so far. I'm not gonna really talk about Henry because he's still annoying the crap out of me, honestly. There's just, the stupidity level hasn't changed, and I'm sorry, I don't feel sorry that he got stabbed in this episode. It's not fatal, he'll be fine, but, you know, he deserved it. He's been asking for that for a while. It's the least he deserves for all the trouble he's caused. But yeah, the fact that they're planning, I guess, now to go to Alexandria first so that they can get him the help he needs. I mean, I don't know if I really like the idea of them getting that smoke. I mean, we all know that at some point the Whispers are probably going to find Alexandria, but I'm not really a fan of them potentially bringing the smoke of Lydia to Alexandria. You know, Michonne didn't ask for this. The queen did not ask for this nonsense. It is what it is. We know that this whole Whisperer threat is all part of trying to get these communities that have spent all these years apart to come back together. Nothing puts people together like a crisis or a bigger issue that unites them. Like, that's what the Saviors did, right, over the past 2 seasons. They, you know, they brought all these communities together because there was one enemy that was threatening to them all, and the Whisperers are going to basically do the exact same thing. The fight between Daryl and Beta was very interesting. It very much reminded me of the kind of fights we used to see Rick get into back in the day, and I think if Rick was still on the show, that totally would have probably been a Rick fight. I think Daryl highly underestimated Beta, not just in like the fact that he was huge and strong, but honestly, like, Beta's not an idiot. He showed that he's not dumb. He's a thinker. He's not just a big dumb oaf. So hopefully going forward, Daryl will take that into mind and know that going forward, that these guys are not just a bunch of weirdos living in a field, you know, having a constant Coachella fest with other walkers. Like, these guys are thinkers. They actually are strategic. And so they can't be underestimating the next moves that they might make, especially since Beta is not dead, which I knew he wasn't dead. Now that he isn't, and he's clearly, this is personal. You know what I mean? I really believe what he was saying to Daryl before that moment. It's like, I don't care about your people, I don't care about any of this, just give me the girl back, and like, well, you know, we're good. But now that Daryl tried to kill him, probably gave him some sciatica and broke a rib or two, yeah, I think it's personal now. Beta's gonna want it. He's gonna want Daryl, if nothing else. He wants some revenge on that kid, and he's gonna definitely want to go after these communities now just to get that revenge. Outside of that, we got the Highwaymen. New introduction, new group, who dis. Not much to say about them. They were kind of comical to me, honestly. The way that the leader spoke, I couldn't take him seriously. It reminded me a lot of Ezekiel when we first saw him. Just over the top, and the cowboy hat, and even the old-timey, like, button-down vest. I'm like, where are you? Are you guys in a costume factory? Like, where did you get these outfits? First time we've heard of this group. First time we've heard of anyone saying that they own the roads to Kingdom. So not sure where they came from, not sure they're made up of, but as Carol brought out very smartly, they clearly weren't looking for too much trouble because they didn't kill that group or really hurt them, and they were asking for food and supplies, right? So they were more pretending to be thugs than anything else, but thankfully Carol, Queen Carol as usual, I'm thinking everybody was like, how about we just see if we can work with these guys, because we need people anyway, and in return for them not giving us more trouble to deal with, we'll let them have access to some of our resources. And movies, hey, like I said, you know, movie saves lives, you know, cinema. That bulb mission's gotta be worth it somehow. They gotta justify that danger that was given to us the other episode for them to go and get this stupid cinema bulb. But I get it. It's semblances of a life that a lot of them are all missing. So we'll have to see whether or not these guys really are as good intentioned as they seem. At this point, you know me, I don't trust nobody, so we'll see whether or not these guys really and truly are just looking to get what they need to survive, or if they're thinking of something a little shadier once they gain the kingdom's trust. And then, of course, we had the trip from the people at Hilltop to the fair, and the baby, the Whisperer baby. I mean, it's cute, I guess. I'm glad that that family has another shot, I guess, at raising a child after losing theirs so tragically. I thought it was very silly of them to bring a baby, though, on a road that full of walkers, but maybe that's just me. And yeah, there wasn't much else to say. Honestly, at this point, the only thing that really came out of that Hilltop segment outside of that is that Carol is now aware of the fact that Henry is MIA, and she's about to learn all about these Whispers, and obviously I think that's gonna worry her deeply. And I'm very interested to see how she's gonna respond to how Henry is handling this whole thing with Lydia. I know Ezekiel is gonna be fairly forgiving about it, but you know Carol, right? Carol, she'll sit there and smile and talk about ideals and stuff, you know, to people's faces, and then she'll burn people to death in their sleep in the dark. So Carol's still Carol. You know, Carol still has the badass deep in her bones. Like, she snapped way back in season 3, and she ain't never really come back completely from that. So I think that she's going to have a very wary eye on Lydia. And again, now that she's going to know what's going down, if Alpha thinks she's going to just come straight for Henry, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. There's no doubt about that. However, I did see the spoiler about in the comics what happens to King Ezekiel. I'm not going to talk about it too much in this for those of you who may not know that, but I do wonder if they're going to go that route, and if the reason that they're doing this is because of now with Henry's tie to Lydia and Carol potentially going head to head with Alpha because of because of it, which is something I can see happening. I do wonder if that's the way that they're potentially looking to carry the path of that thread in the comics, and I don't know how to feel about it, because to be perfectly honest, as much as I love this show, I'd be remiss to not admit that they have terribly underutilized a lot of their supporting cast. And so if it turns out that things have to change where that's concerned, I would understand, or if actors want other opportunities, much like Tom Payne with the Jesus character, like they weren't using him, and it was a lot to be contractually tied to a show that's not really giving you a lot of screen time, but also tying you up so much that you can't explore other opportunities. So, but it'll be interesting to see how things go forward once Carol is now finally in the mix, because we all know, like, Alpha's a badass, but Killer Carol ain't no joke. And you get Killer Carol and Michonne riled up at the same time, it's gonna be a battle royale, and it's one I definitely want front row seats to, you feel me? So that was basically the whole episode, guys. As I said, not too much to say in this one, because there wasn't a whole heck of a lot outside of that battle. I feel like, once again, this was kind of more of a filler episode, you know, kind of a segue before we get another big thing happening. I don't know how much they plan on doing, because we only have 4 episodes left. Well, 16 episodes. This is episode 13, so 3 more episodes before the finale, most likely. So it really makes me wonder how much we really are gonna do in those 3 episodes. Are we gonna end on some kind of massive conflict happening? And again, I keep saying this just because I miss Rick and Michonne so much. I do wonder with these Walking Dead movies, when I haven't heard any more about when they're supposed to be coming out or what's happening with them. So if whatever they're due this season, is it going to roll into whatever these movies, these independent projects they're planning on doing for The Walking Dead are? And if they're just setting up for a big cliffhanger to go into next season, much like they did back in season 6 with the whole Negan, you know, the Glenn and Abraham thing. Like, I don't know if I necessarily am going to be a fan of that happening once again, but we're not going to know at this point. I have not seen the preview for next week, so hopefully we're going to see some movement happen pretty quickly. I feel like something's going to go down at this fair. They've put way too much emphasis on it in the second half of this season to not have it be significant. So we'll see if there's some unexpected guests to the fair and how it's all gonna go down. So that's pretty much it, guys. What did you think of the episode? How are you feeling about the progression of the season so far? How are you feeling about this whole Daryl and Connie thing? Do you think it could be a real thing, or do you think it's just gonna be one of those many interactions that Daryl has that eventually turns into nothing? Please leave your comments below. You know I love reading them and getting involved in that conversation with you. And if you like this video, please click a like, and if you want to see more from this geeky face, please click subscribe. Until next time, see ya!